This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, September 27th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Springfield, Missouri, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And back in Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast all about home automation, home technology. And yeah, welcome back, Gavin.
Thank you. I feel like you guys missed me, but you didn't miss me that much because you had a replacement. You had Chat Gav PT.
Chat Gavin.
Wait, you were gone? Where did you go?
I had no idea.
How long were you gone for?
We took a little trip out to the west side of Canada, so we went to a whole bunch of remote locations where technology doesn't really work well, but we enjoyed it. It was a nice time away. Just give you an idea, we flew into Calgary, we drove through Canmore, Kamloops, Banff, we went up to Jasper, onto a glacier, over to the Vancouver Island in BC. Then we visited Victoria, Tofino, Euclid, Port Alice, Telegraph Cove, Port McNeil, made our way back to Vancouver, went to Whistler, and then we came back home. And that was 2 weeks. So I just compressed it all in that 2 weeks for you there, right? That's basically what we did. I don't know anybody from any of those we went to some small towns.
Yeah, you were in the west of the West Letterkenny type small towns of
smaller than that.
Yeah.
Population 500 type towns, you ask, where can I go get something to eat? And they look at their watch and say the food truck's about to close. So you better hurry up, those kind of towns. So, Port Alice, it's a beautiful little town, population 500, but, I couldn't live there, but it's an awesome place to visit.
Yeah. I looked at some of the Google, images of it. Yeah. It looks beautiful that way. With the mountains and the ocean and the surfing stuff, the surf town you went to, you said
over at Tofino.
Yeah.
Yes, it was beautiful. One of the nicest things when I was over in Port Alice was, we sat out in the backyard on the deck and just watched the water, and you didn't hear any planes, you didn't hear any cars, you just heard water. And it was just so peaceful because, you don't get that in the city.
Yeah, no one lives there.
So, yeah, nobody lives there, I was just praying that one, the car didn't break down because, we had no cell service and we're in the middle of nowhere. And two, I didn't get hurt because the nearest hospital I'd probably die before we reached it. So, when we were going out on one boat, and the doctor was coming in on another boat because he lives in a remote location. He has to take the boat in every day. And it was interesting to hear stuff like that, right?
Yeah. That's crazy to even think about, because I'm from a small area. We were kind of close to bigger cities and stuff like that, but I couldn't even imagine my doctor not being in the same area as me.
Yeah. And, growing up all the time, whenever you went to wooded areas, people would be like, oh, just be careful of bears. But nobody ever took it seriously, right? When I was in these locations, they were actually like, no, be careful of bears. Really,
a bear will kill you and nobody will ever find out.
They were like, here's some bear spray. This is how you unlock it. This is how you have to go through training course. And they're like, just be careful of bears. Here's how you tell the differences. And we did see a mother bear and her two cubs, luckily from a distance. So, nice. Bears are real, I guess.
Nice.
Not like birds. Birds are not real. So
yeah, birds aren't real, but bears are real. We saw otters, elk, whales.
What kind of bears do you guys have in Canada?
We have grizzly bears, black bears, polar bears.
They have all the bears.
Yeah, we have all the bears.
Just a plethora of bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is I saw a bear license plate, a Florida bear license plate on the way home today. I'm like, I've never seen a bear license plate in my life.
Isn't your license plate oranges or something like that?
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's one part of the money scheme that is Florida license plate. Yeah. They basically have you can get, if you like Disney a lot, you can get a Disney license plate, with the Disney World thing on it. Every single basketball, baseball team in the whole state, major, minor league, doesn't matter. Everybody has I think you get 100,000 signatures and you can have a license plate. So everything has a license plate. And I hadn't seen a bear one before until today. So there's a nice little bear on there. We do have bears, but they're not very, they only pop up from time to time.
Yeah.
They're skittish of people and they run off into the woods.
If you're in Orlando, you have the solar bears, but I don't think those are real bears.
No, isn't that like a hockey team or something like that?
It is a hockey team. Yeah.
They probably have a license plate. Let's just say that. They probably have a license plate.
Oh, 100%.
But bears are a real thing out there and we had to be careful of it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to fight any bears while you were there.
Nope. We were good. I kept my distance. We saw a lot of wildlife, but you just gotta keep your distance. That's all.
Stay safe, Gavin. We learned that we could not replace you with a Gavin AI yet. So
Yeah.
until that day comes, then your bear wrestling career is just gonna have to be put on hold. All right. What do you guys say? We've got a bunch of headlines tonight because Gavin came back. He's like, look at all the news that everybody missed. What do you say we jump into these HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
A little bit of follow up here. We talked about LG and their affectionate intelligence that they were launching with their new ThinQ. Dang it, I did it again. Think on Hub. That's the worst name. I can't read it. Anyway, I guess we were kind of wondering, TJ, you were kind of wondering if what was going to happen with the Homey people. Well, I guess, and Atham confirmed themselves that the new Hub is going to run Homey software, and you'll also be able to add the Hub, Think on Hub, to the Homey app. So there you go. Homey is involved.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Because I would assume that LG really isn't known for good software, like a lot of other Korean companies. And I don't really see them as investing a ton of money into the home automation platform to begin with. And so I feel like it makes sense for them just to go ahead and transition to Homey because it does have a better standing already. And it's not really surprising to see this in a way, but it is kind of surprising because they literally just announced the ThinQ Hub or Think Hub, and it already runs Homey. So that's kind of crazy.
And I bet you their play was to do this all along. They probably wanted to get into this, and it was just cheaper and easier for them to buy one and integrate that than create from scratch their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, interesting. We'll have to see what happens to ThinQ Homey over on. I don't know. Over the years here,
Think.
like this. Yeah, think.
It's like oversee. It's all right.
ThinQ it's always going to be ThinQ for me. All right. Anyway, that's that. Let's move on here. We've got it's a little follow up too about Sonos because we love talking about Sonos. Sonos employees reportedly knew that their app was flawed before its launch, but the executive pushed it forward regardless. Internal communications revealed concerns over significant bugs and a subpar user experience. And despite all these warnings, the app was released, leading to widespread customer dissatisfaction and negative reviews. That's and a long backlash. I'm not sure if I said here on the show, but I know I told you guys maybe before we talked or whatever, like I have a coworker that knew people inside Sonos, and they were like, yeah, we told him not to do it. And they went ahead and did it anyway. So, I guess you gotta get that app launch for your headphones. Everybody was clamoring for.
No, that nobody is buying. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of those weird things that like we're going to hear about in like 10 or 15 years from now. Like there's going to be some podcast or YouTube series about it. And I'm in the firm belief that Patrick Spence is probably on his way out. It's just a matter of if it's going to happen before or after the holidays. I think it's probably just going to happen after the holidays. I don't think Sonos was expecting to replace their CEO anytime soon. And I think this this threw the company for a loop. And I think they are going to replace Patrick Spence after the holidays.
Wow. After the holiday, we should start a poll, like get a bet going on for this. When's he going to be out? Yeah, there you go.
Friendly wagers.
Yeah. No, I've heard similar stories like this for, other companies. My developer friends have said this too. They've said, we have this app we were working on. We don't feel it's ready to be released, but the upper management needs to get it out there to meet whatever goals for financials and stuff. I've heard that before. But the apps were never as buggy as the Sonos, were never as bad as the Sonos. There were much smaller bugs that they could get away with, right? I think this Sonos, they really messed this one up.
Well, and I think it's different too in Sonos's case because typically when somebody releases a new app, like it's buggy or maybe some of the features aren't exactly there. But for like Sonos, when they released the new app, like half the features were not there. And it didn't work at all. So I feel like that's even worse. You know what I mean? Like if you just release an app that is updated and maybe it sucks a little bit, that's a little different than an app that is missing half the features and just doesn't work. So I think Sonos is in a weird position with this one. And sounds like management kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they definitely did that. I wholeheartedly agree that like just a rush. I don't know, like even like what was said after, it's like, I've been using this app for like 3 months and it's been fine. And like, what's wrong with you guys?
I love that was a release, like as a statement of like how good it was or something. And I'm like, that's not what that is, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah.
It's like when the feel good stories come across about like kids, like elementary kids paying off like their fellow students' lunch debt. It's like that is not a feel good story, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And unfortunately, what they've lost here is a lot of goodwill with, the customer base. Because like everyone has always mostly had a good feeling about Sonos and what it was doing. I would say like on the integration side, it was always love hate because we'd be like, hey, we would like an outdoor rated speaker thing. And they're like, yeah, we're on that. And then they come out with something dumb like, oh, here's a new hub. And it's like, I didn't want a hub. I didn't need that. Like, I'm glad you have a new hub that's more powerful, but guess what it can't do? It can't get me speakers outside like I needed. So I don't know. I wish they would, listen to the integration side. I mean, even like we were, as soon as you get a Sonos system on the integration side, it was like, well, what this needs to be is rack mounted, right? We need the vessel basically brought over and brought into Sonos. Like that's pretty much exactly what everybody's been asking for, and it never happened. I don't know. I think on this one though, I think he's probably, there's been too many botched things. Like if you go back in time, I mean, they pretty much hit some hard times or something. I don't know. Like as soon as he became CEO, he's like, well, we got to have some good numbers. Let me fire everybody. So he fired everybody. Everybody got laid off. Yeah. So everybody got let go. And then right after that, I think the S1, S2 thing debacle happened, which, I think Sonos actually probably had good reason to do that. But I think they also made a good like effort to say, okay, these are older pieces of equipment. They've been around for 10 years. We're going to still support them, but it's going to go on this S1 platform. New stuff's go to the S2. And maybe I'm just saying that because most of my stuff was able to be transferred. I think I had like one thing in my whole system that could go to S2 and it brought everything over or something. I don't know. I forget what exactly it was. But like they did offer a trade-in plan thing and they were going to say, oh, you can recycle it or whatever. I don't know. There was a bunch of like people getting mad about the recycling aspects of it and like how they were bricking things. It's like, well, no, you can trade it in. Like it's not going to stop working like just because it goes on S1. So I don't know. I think their communication was pretty bad on that. I think that was more, what do we call it? A Reddit problem than anything else. That was not a real issue because everything kept working.
Well, and I would agree with that, right? I mean, I think when you take I basically classify Patrick Spence as having three major debacles, one of them being the S1, S2, one of them being the recycling program, and then the third one being this recent iteration of the app. And I think the first two are mostly forgivable, right? Like the recycling program, I think was just bad PR. The S1, S2 is whatever. But I think when you put all three of them together, it's like, you've kind of destroyed the premium brand in the past, like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Like you've taken this company that basically was a premium brand for nearly 20 years and turned it into a budget brand in 5 years without any of the benefits.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd classify it they're still not priced as a budget brand. I mean, everything that they have is like $100 more than their nearest competitor. So like,
I would just mean feature wise, not price wise.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one thing is like they really haven't advanced their feature set any, right? Their features are kind of like,
yeah,
they've got a voice assistant. Yay. No one really was asking for that. Like we all wanted to have, what was it? Alexa and Google. And it's like, well, we'll just take Google to court and sue them. And they won and then they didn't. So yeah.
Whoops. Come to find out they made up their patents. Oops.
Yeah. So maybe leadership does need to change. I don't know. Let's put some dates on it. Like you said, we put friendly wagers are up. TJ, what's your date? What's your you got to draw a line in the sand. What's the date? Do you think he'll be focusing on his family?
Well, I don't. What does Sonos do quarters? Because I would say after the holidays, which would be January.
That's what I was going to ask.
I would say January though. It's probably conservative. Like at this point, they probably just want to get the app. Well, whoever's the board or whatever just wants to get the app fixed, mostly in a way. And then I think after that point, they get done with the holiday sales and all that good stuff. They'll get rid of them. And if they don't, I don't see how their credibility is going to go up any. I think at this point they kind of have to do it to save face.
Sonos' fiscal year will end on the near September 30th each year. So that's when their fiscal year ends. So I guess the next quarter, October, November, December. Yes, January.
So, quarter one would be end of January, basically. So I'm fine with that. I'll keep it.
You're saying what? January what?
January end of quarter one, I guess. 2025, obviously.
I know, but January what day? You got to give us a day. What
I got to say a day?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
They were just going to say a month. Let's do January.
If I think I got a better day, I'm gonna be like January 2nd and get you.
Well, yeah, because you're like that. January 13th.
13th. All right.
Let's go for it.
It's like Price is Right rules. Can't go over the price of the retail showdown thing, and closest to one wins. Right.
I'm fine with that.
Gavin, what's your date?
I'm going with April 1st.
April?
Wow.
April 1.
That way nobody will believe it that day. Let's go April 1st.
All right. Well, I'm going to say December 1st. I'm going to say December 1.
Wow.
I'm going to be
2024. Oh, 2024?
Yeah. I'm going to say the holidays ends November, what was it? Black Friday, right? I'm going to say...
Oh, you're going to say end of Black Friday. All right.
Yeah, Black Friday. I'm going to say they'll probably turn around and be like, yeah, we didn't do so well. And yeah, let's plug it away. Let me look at the calendar, make sure December 1st isn't like some kind of Sunday or something like that.
Oh, okay. So why don't we up this? Who do we think is going to be the new CEO? Do we think whatever his face is going to come back?
No.
Or do we think it's going to be a new CEO?
I'm going to bump mine to the 6th. I'm going to say that first week of December.
Is it going to Bob Iger it or?
No, I think it'll probably be whoever's in current leadership there, whoever's in like the CTO position, or it's not going to be Keith from the Reddit forums, though. I can tell you that.
John McFarlane. I feel like John McFarlane's going to make a comeback. I'm making a bet that he's going to become CEO.
Why not Keith? Keith would be great. Yeah.
Keith, because Keith isn't a real person.
He's not. He's AI, right?
Reddit Sonos Keith, if you're listening, I don't think you're real. So email us and let us know if you're real.
We found his LinkedIn profile. We found pictures of Keith. So
didn't you find it without I thought you found it without a picture and with like no work history though.
No, we found Keith. I found pictures of Keith when we last looked it up. So I think he's a real person.
All right. Well, I still don't think he is, but I'm glad you have faith in him.
All right. We've got everything recorded here. We'll take a look back at our friendly rager. When will Patrick Spence be like, oh, this reminds me of Predict It? I don't know if you guys have ever done that. Predict It?
No.
It's like a little gambling site that you can go and bet on elections and that kind of thing.
Oh.
Should have picked up some Kamala Harris.
Oh man.
It's like she was like $1 or something, and now she's, it's up to 50 cents, or like she was like pennies, and then it went up to 50 60 cents now. So yeah, you could make some money doing that. Yeah, bet on things is what I'm saying.
Gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
This is America, we gamble.
This is the HomeTech podcast where we gamble on when CEOs are going to be let go. All right, well, moving on here.
On to more sad news.
Moving on to more interesting news and sad news. I guess filmmaker Philip Bloom is raising alarms about the safety of self-cleaning litter boxes that are available on, Amazon, Walmart, Wayfair, and all that good stuff. In a video posted on a YouTube channel, 1 man, 5 cats, Bloom shared a tragic incident where a malfunctioning litter box killed a cat named Moki by closing on its neck. Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm not going to, I'll go post a link to the story, but that sounds awful. Like to walk in and find your little pet there, like stuck in a thing. But like, I got to say, every cat I've owned, like if this thing went off, it wouldn't be sniffing around. It'd be like trying to get away from this thing. So I guess it depends on the cat.
Your cats get pretty used to it. So we have a very expensive litter box that does not kill cats, luckily. We've been gone for a couple days though, so I guess.
Who knows?
But no, so honestly, like we have a cat that's very skittish, and like after like a couple weeks, she was fine with it. Like she'll stand next to it now as it cycles. It is very unfortunate to hear this though, and it is one of the reasons I kind of like the one that I have. So the one that I got is the Litter Robot 4. And basically it's like a giant globe. The problem with the one that they linked, or that they say that is having problems, is that it actually closes the whole litter box.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at this thing.
Yeah. So that automatically sounds awful. The one I have is basically just like a giant globe that is open. And so like, even if it were to malfunction and start cycling with the cat in there, the cat could easily get out still. Mine has like a ton of safety sensors though, that like, if there's literally like anything that like resembles like entering the litter box, it does not cycle at all. So like if I put litter in there or something like that, or I just like, I don't know, beat some poo off the side of the thing, it does not want to cycle. I have to manually cycle it after that because it just thinks that there's a cat in there. So mine luckily has a lot of safety sensors and probably for reasons like this.
They actually said that in the article, though, that some of them had safety sensors, but they weren't working properly until after a firmware upgrade that you had to manually initiate. And, it was a sad article to read because, they had they knew cats that were killed by them, and the first thing I thought of is, if you have a significant other that has a cat you really don't like, there's some good recommendations in this article for litter boxes to get. Yeah. But there's also a difference between an $800 model and a $50 model, you gotta weigh that sometimes too when it comes to the safety of your cat.
I'm glad this person's bringing some visibility to this. I actually watched One Man, Five Cats when I was looking for a robot litter box myself. And I'm pretty sure that his videos convinced me to get the Litter Robot 4. So I fully believe what this person's talking about and what they've seen and everything like that. So, and if you haven't checked their videos out and you have cats, I think you should check them out.
Yeah, and the video is pretty well done. I mean, I guess that's why he's a filmmaker, right? But
they're very detailed. He goes over every aspect of the litter box or the litter robot, whatever.
It's shot so well. This is good stuff. Well, yeah, check this out. It's got a lot of the video kind of goes in shows there's one part here where they shoved a little baby Yoda inside a litter box and they're closing it on it and it's getting stuck in there. And that would not be good for cat, make sure you make note of which ones don't have these safety features and go with those. That's wild. Wow. Would not
don't buy one that can close your animal in. That's what I say.
Yeah. Just some of these are just big buckets, like what you're talking about. This is like a big bucket and it would never close. Well, good. I'm glad they're bringing light to this because that's maybe it'll make a difference in the world of robot cat litter boxes, All right, moving on here. Good thing for Canada here. Amazon's Key in-garage delivery service has been expanded to over 1,700 cities and towns across Canada. Service allows Amazon Prime members to have their packages securely delivered inside their garages, providing an added layer of convenience and security. Just one thing Gavin, is where you went on the list here? Let's see. Do you think it's on the list? Do they have Amazon Prime?
Do we have 1,700 Canadian cities and towns? Looks like we have over 8,000 cities. Okay. This is cool because I think you guys had this in the States for a while. And I think in Canada, in our area of Canada, the porch pirates, activity have been picking up big time. So it seems to just be everybody nowadays. Somebody's out walking their dog and they just stop at your front door and grab a package for you, in the past, that person was just looking after your package and return it later, but not anymore. Their packages are gone.
I said that's pro level.
Yeah.
I was just walking my dog, officer. I'm not doing anything bad. And then boom.
Yeah. But you're going to need MyQ for this. And I guess you allow them to use the MyQ key or something like that to get into. And MyQ is pretty much in every garage door opener these days. So you just got to pay the subscription service on top of your Amazon Prime fee and stuff like that. Some people may like this.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I don't like the MyQ aspect of it, that you have to have one of their things. But I've seen some. Actually, Yale has these things. They're like little lock boxes you can stick outside if the package is big enough for them, I suppose. But it's got a kind of a automated lock or Bluetooth or Z-Wave lock or something built into it.
I can't remember who in the hub had something like that too, and they just say what happens is the delivery people just leave it on top of it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. They don't put it. Cause there's even little screens that look like grass or a bush that you put out there and they just can put it behind there and it just kind of masks it. Yeah. They still just throw it at your door. The worst are when they lean it up against your door so you can't open your door without tilting it all over. I hate when they do that.
Well, I wonder if not if one of those companies like Yale or somebody, maybe it's MyQ, comes out with a lockbox and makes that an option, like a lockbox that becomes instead of in garage delivery, they can have in lockbox.
What if Amazon Basics sold you a lockbox that they now can access and put their packages in for you?
Yeah, even better.
Why would they just sell it to you?
Yeah, Amazon box, and you put the box of Amazon in the Amazon box. I don't know, it would be nicer if it was more than Amazon or whatever, but yeah, I think it would be interesting to see somebody come up with that. And then I guess Amazon kind of does the most deliveries and this kind of thing to most homes. Like it would be nice because they're delivered. Like I've watched them come up. Like some of them come up in the cars. Some of them will come up in like a random person's car. They don't even have like Amazon shirt on or anything. They just throw some packages at your door and run off. And then some of them come up like in the Amazon trucks. They're all, dressed out and everything. So like it just depends on who you're going to get. And I've noticed a lot of them have been taking pictures now more often. Like they won't even I'll be outside working in the yard or something. I'm like, oh, I'll take them. And they're like, no, I got to go stick them up here and take a picture.
Yeah, they have to take the picture. And then I also notice as the package is arriving, it notifies me in the Amazon app sometimes, and you can actually see where the truck is. So let's say the truck's 10 stops away, and you can actually follow it, and you know when it gets to your house. So that was pretty new up here for me.
I do like that feature. It's always weird though when they show you the person's face. It's like, I don't know if I want to see you.
I haven't seen their face, but I've seen the I've seen the little, like, it's 10 stops away. Or that was handy this last weekend when we got our phones, the new iPhone stuff that finally came in. And we're like, oh, we need the screen protector things because we can't take them out without, dropping them. So it's a new phone, new screen protector. And so like we were just waiting for those to show up on Saturday. But I looked at my phone. It was like, oh, it's 10 stops away. And I don't know, 30 minutes or so. 45 minutes it showed up at the house. Yeah, very, very convenient. It just, a lot of people don't have garages, but they still need a secure place to drop off stuff. And it would be nice to see other options besides Amazon Key supporting these like other options like lockboxes and that kind of thing. So just a thought.
Well, they do support them coming into your house, but I don't know if I want random people.
No, that's not happening.
House, honestly.
Yeah. Have you seen the people? Like I have videos of them. I don't want them in my house.
Yeah, luckily I live in a place that I don't really have to worry about this. I feel like if I lived in like a downtown area or something, I would definitely do the Amazon Key. But we really don't have anybody that messes with our stuff, so I can leave expensive stuff on my porch all day long, knock on wood, and I have no problem.
I remember when we were at CEDIA in I think it was San Diego or maybe even CEDIA in Denver. We were kind of like in one of these like apartment areas, we did an Airbnb thing. We were in kind of one of these apartment things. I think it was in Denver a few years back. And like I was walking down the hallways and there'd just be Amazon packages just sitting on the floor next to somebody's door, as you're walking in and out. I'm like, man, like, I guess, you trust your neighbors and everything, but anybody who is able to gain access to the building could just walk up and down the hallway picking up Amazon packages.
Free packages.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move on here. We've got some Home Assistant news because it's been a while, but this is kind of interesting. Paulus, the founder of Home Assistant, has been appointed to the Z-Wave Alliance Board of Directors, representing Nabu Casa. This recognition highlights Home Assistant's commitment to open standards and open source projects. The appointment allows Home Assistant to influence Z-Wave's future, advocating for its community and open source values. But it's interesting, but kind of makes sense. The Home Assistant's probably one of the biggest Z-Wave automation systems out there. I mean, maybe not more than like some alarm systems that exist out there that have this in. Maybe about the same size, but it makes sense because I think even like part of they did the Z-Wave JS thing, right? I think they have the developer working for them that did that. So makes sense.
Does make sense. And they're showing everybody Z-Wave's not dead. Like everyone thought Matter was coming in and it's going to kill everybody. No, Matter, it was just like that cartoon, the XKCD cartoon. Matter is just another standard now on top of all of them. I don't see Zigbee going anywhere. I don't see Z-Wave going anywhere. And Home Assistant they're the people that fight to have all these open standards. They want them all out there and they want to support them all. So they push Z-Wave pretty hard, and it's really good to see them on the board because they're backing it now. They're giving it a little bit more life. And I like to see that.
I do give a lot of grief to Z-Wave, but I really do enjoy Z-Wave, and I think it is one of the best protocols out there. So I hope it does stay around for a very long time. And seeing this kind of stuff is very rewarding because it is somebody who actually gets to see people using Z-Wave. It's not just like a figurehead in some company somewhere.
Yep, I agree. And they have all the metrics. They can figure out how many Z-Wave devices and everything are connected to Home Assistant and tell everybody. I think it was 1.7 million Z-Wave devices on Home Assistant today. So It's probably like what?
I'm only 100 of those. So
I was gonna say, Gavin, how many millions do you have in your house?
Only 100 of that. So
good job, Paulus. You matter. Oh, well, never mind. Use
no, wait, that's not what you say there.
Yeah.
Use Z-Wave, definitely. All right, let's move on here. We've got some new product, and I guess it's Lock Talk again. Here we go.
Lock Talk.
Gavin, while you were gone, all Lock Talk.
I heard it all.
That's all we talked about.
it all. And there's going to be more tonight because, I have some, the project's time. So don't worry.
All right. Alfred International has launched the Alfred DB2S Smart Lock in the US. It features an RFID card reader, Z-Wave long range, and can recognize up to 250 unique RFID cards, as well as 250 unique, I guess, PIN codes, because they have to be unique. It has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery pack, which offers 8 to 12 months of use per charge, and looks kind of nice. This one's very, very sleek looking, nice and thin. It comes in nickel, I think they said. Let's see, black chrome or satin nickel, and it has an illuminated touchscreen. This is a nice looking lock.
And this is why I added this story because I noticed you guys were bashing some other locks out there last week, so I decided to add this one because this one actually looks pretty good. And Alfred, I believe, is similar to Yale where they have modules, so they can add Matter, Zigbee, Z-Wave as well. I don't know if they're offering that with this lock. I think they were.
Yeah, there's an optional Wi-Fi bridge or Z-Wave plugin or Zigbee plugin. Yeah, it all separately. So
I know they have the various modules, so I know, TJ, that will make you happy seeing, a modular system like that.
Yeah, and it actually looks like a nice lock. I really don't understand the obsession with people hiding the keyhole. They've got like this giant cover that just covers the keyhole for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why people are obsessed with that, but honestly, overall, it's a very nice looking lock. And it comes in 2 colors, Seth. 2 colors. That's crazy.
2 dang colors. Yeah, Aquara, pay attention. Come on.
That's right.
SwitchBot. Oh no, SwitchBot's only going to be
only white.
One color. Yeah.
Cheap feeling white. But yeah, this is a good one, and I do like the modules. I think honestly, I know why people don't do the modules because it adds complexity and cost and all that good stuff. But I really do like the module approach, just like Yale does, because you just change the module. You use the same freaking lock, but you just change the internal part, and that's the smarts of it. What a novel concept!
What a novel concept indeed. So there we go. There's our Lock Talk. No wait, there's more Lock Talk coming. Gavin's promised. There's more Lock Talk coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Samsung is introducing the Galaxy Ring that integrates with SmartThings. It can automate smart home functions based on biometric signals. And at IFA, this supersized model demonstrated how the Ring can sense when the wearer falls asleep, wakes up, and can trigger corresponding routines, such as starting a sleep or morning routine. There you go. This represents a significant advancement in effortless smart home interfaces. I guess. I mean, that's one way to do it. Or you can have what was it? I could just think of a number of ways you could do this. You can have the car has its sleep sensor. A number of companies have the sleep sensor thing. I think even Amazon has one built into a device they had. You could do the pressure pad thing where you put the pressure pad under the mattress. And when you're not sleeping there, it says you're waking up. I don't know. It's just me. Would you wear a ring that you could walk around your house and trigger having a heart attack? Turn the lights to a soothing level.
I don't know if I'd wear a ring because another thing, I already have a watch on, right? So, the Apple Watch is monitoring a lot of stuff, the new ones. And I think that's probably the best place to have it. But if you're not an Apple Watch type of person, maybe you would like to have the ring, but then you're going to be, if you're married, you'll have 2 rings. Will it get in the way? It may be annoying. Who knows? I don't know if I'd wear a ring though.
Yeah, I'm not a jewelry person, so I'm definitely not going to wear a ring, especially from an automation system. If I started wearing a ring from an automation system, but not for my marriage, I think I would get divorced. Not for my own fault.
If you like it, you got to put a ring on it. It's what they say, I think.
You're quoting Beyonce.
If you like smart things, you got to put a ring on it.
There you go. I should be in Samsung. We need to talk to Daniel about that. I think we can just give him that one for free.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to use that, but you can go ahead.
There's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Go for it, Seth. Go for it.
Just think it. No, you just pay her. You just pay her and get a celebrity endorsement. And then it's right there. The commercial writes itself. I'm telling you.
All right.
Beyonce would be all over SmartThings. It'd be the best thing they've ever done. Maybe. All right. Speaking of cool things that maybe the best thing they've ever done. I don't know. Google is rolling out a significant updates to all Google TV devices, including Chromecast and third-party streamers. And they've got this new, I guess this like new control panel they've been putting on everything. I think we talked about the control panel on a previous show, but what we didn't know was that this control panel, the overview and everything is going to end up on Google TV, which is kind of interesting. So new interface. And I guess they're going to pop it up on the TV as well. So that's pretty cool.
I actually just bought a Google TV. So I brought a Roku with me to Missouri, but I didn't realize it wasn't one of the Roku dongles. And so I did not bring an HDMI cable to connect to the TV. And so instead of spending like $10 on an HDMI cable, I went to Walmart and bought one of these $14 ONN streaming devices, basically like a Roku, HD or whatever it is, for $15. And it works great. It's Google TV on it. It's a little slow. If you're used to the Apple TV or whatever, you're going to hate this thing. But for a little travel streaming device, I think it's great. And honestly, one of the things I do miss about Google TV is the interface. I think they've done probably the best job of creating like a unified dashboard or guide or whatever you want to call it in the streaming age. I think they've done the best job of doing that. Nobody else has really done anything with that.
Yeah, the interface does look pretty clean. And I mean, Apple is doing something similar to this, but on the Apple TV. But I don't know if it's kind of like...
Well, and it's like a separate app too. The Google TV thing is just like the dashboard. Like it's just part of how it works. Like the Apple TV one is what the Apple TV Plus or whatever, where you have to like go into the separate app.
It's up in the corner. You just may not know it's there because they hide it. Like, why would you ever want to know it's there? There's something up in the corner, if I remember correctly. Like you can access like the smart home things. Last I remember looking, maybe I'm making that up, but I swear there was something up in the corner, like where you could go to your name or like where your name is up in the corner and get to some smart home things there. It looks similar to this from what I remember. I have never used it. Clearly have not gone to it and used it very often, but it's there. There's something there. But I think Google's done a better job. I'll give them the interface. There you go, Google. This will be killed off in a year or two. This will be gone. So like it while you can.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Is how long is this going to last for? We always get excited when we see Google introduce something, but then how long is it going to last?
Let's move on here. We've got some light news here. Some news in the lighting space. Nanoleaf has introduced the Sense Plus Smart Wireless Anywhere Switch, priced at $30 and shipping in October. This ugly as heck battery-powered device allows physical control over Nanoleaf's smart lighting system and enables users to turn on lights off and on, brighten, change the colors, dim, brighten them, whatever you want to do, because it's got a bunch of buttons. It features built-in motion and light sensors to adjust the light based on the room conditions and uses two different protocols. You got Matter over Thread and Nanoleaf's proprietary Lightwave. So there you go. It's got a little bit of Matter in there if you want. If not, you can use their Lightwave thing to talk directly to their devices. $30. Ships in October. I do not like the look of this thing. It looks ugly.
Who approved this design? This is what happens when you let engineers do, UI. It's ugly.
And their pictures don't do it any, like their pictures, like they purposely lit the thing where there's like a hard downlight on it. So like the shadows on this thing look like it's like sticking out from your wall. It's probably not sticking out that far, but they've accentuated like how far it's going to stick off
like
the wall.
Photoshopped some of the pictures. Yeah.
It does look photo. Yeah, like they've added in that photo, but no, I don't know. They could have not done that. They could have shown the direct light on it rather than down at an angle like they did. Yeah, it looks like somebody just, what this looks like? It looks like all my Photoshops look like when I discovered that you could add a drop shadow on things. And I was like, oh, let's extend it. Yeah,
drop shadows.
It's exactly what this, drop shadows get everywhere. That's what it looks like. It's like, oh, we can move this light over here and it'll make it look ugly. Let's do that.
It's ugly. Ugh. That's all I have to say.
TJ, don't you have Nanoleaf stuff? Are you going to get one of these?
I do have Nanoleaf stuff, and no, I will not be getting one of these. I use my phone. It's kind of like an expensive light switch, but it costs like $1,200 instead of this $30. So
it also doesn't stick out from the wall as much.
So well, it does if you take into account the camera bump. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, we got another light story here from LifeX. This is kind of fun. They've introduced a new polychrome tube light. It's designed to transform ordinary light fixtures into vibrant RGB displays. Or as the title in the story calls, RGB glow sticks. There we go. They've got the new light tube is crafted from a frosted glass and houses 104 LEDs divided into 52 controllable zones, allowing for dynamic color shifting lighting effects. You can do theme things like flame mode, or you can put it into morph mode for more of a lava lamp look. It has the ability to go ahead and paint colors all over the bulb surface. These are tiny bulbs. This is really funny that you can do all this stuff in these tiny little bulbs. They fit into a standard E26 bulb sockets, and both products are pretty affordable, with the T10 frosted glass tube starting at $39.98 and the B10 polychrome candle, which is a candle looking one of these things, starting at about $29.98 as well, exclusively at the Home Depot. I thought this was kind of silly. I looked at them. I'm like, no, that's actually kind of cool, especially the flame one. I mean, that's going to sell out for Halloween. That's Halloween decorations right there.
I might have to invest in this.
I see a lot of light fixtures that these lights would work with, and they're becoming more and more popular. So I can see these being pretty popular in the normal house.
My bedroom bedside tables actually use these bulbs. So maybe this will complement my bed lights, and I can add it to my automations in there. When the music starts going and the red glows and get some flames going up the side.
There's a flame. Yeah, there you go.
Red light district.
I actually could see a use for this. Yeah.
And we got an interesting story here from HomeKit News and Reviews. They ran across something in Apple documentation, and they asked, does iOS 18 offer a home-free option to Apple Home? Does iOS 18 offer a hub-free option for Apple Home users? And I guess with iOS 18, Apple introduced the ability to pair and control Wi-Fi based Matter accessories directly to the Home app without needing a hub. For Thread-based Matter devices, the iPhone 15 Pro and later models, which actually include a Thread radio, can pair and manage these devices directly. This update pretty much simplifies the process and setup for new users, but it's still going to require a Thread border router or Matter controller to enable full functionality, such as device communication and automation. So kind of a confusing, I don't know. I think this is more confusing to read it this way, but at the end, like if you're just getting started and you're like, hey, this thing will work, like you should just be able to open up your phone, adopt the thing in, and call it a day, right? Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think this is one of those Apple things.
Yeah.
Like, this is an Apple thing where they're like, hey, we're going to make this super simple. And they just turn on a feature that I don't know if anybody was looking for. But it kind of removes like the hub option from the house. It's kind of nice.
Well, I also compare this to like when I used to have Wemo switches. You didn't really need a hub to control the Wemo switches. You just added it to the app and it communicated and did its thing that way too. You didn't need a hub for that either, right? It's cool, but yeah, you still want a hub because when you're not home, you won't be able to communicate and stuff with. So you'll still need the border router to get in and out.
I guess it's nice. I mean, so like I guess why it's confusing for Apple people with HomeKit and everything, because with HomeKit, you needed to have something in the house. I think at one point you could use an old iPad and have that like plugged in somewhere.
Yeah, but they got rid of that feature.
If you have an Apple TV.
You basically had to use an Apple TV at that point.
Yep. Or a HomePod. You could use those. It's got all that stuff built into it. So yeah, I think that's what's confusing the Matter. There we go on this one, because Matter in general can be set up in a number of different ways, and it wouldn't necessarily require that hub, right? Like if you're just doing local control with a device, when you walk in the door with your phone, it's going to jump and see those Matter thread over devices. Or if it's a Matter device that's like set up over Wi-Fi, maybe there's some kind of like communication route too, like it has from your home to your device. So you may not even, depending on the device, depending on the manufacturer, you may not ever know that some features might be missing unless you had a hub. But long story short, they do offer the hub-free option, but you probably don't want that. You probably want to have something at the house that'll stay online and relay automation commands and stuff like that around. The hub's not going anywhere.
I think this may just confuse people too, because if they buy a switch or something, for example, right, and they're at home, they set it up, they use their phone, they're like, cool, this works, and then they're outside, on the road, and they're like, oh, I gotta turn on this light or turn on this switch, and they try to do it remotely. They might not have thought that, hey, that might not work, Like, I hope they're clear with their message with this, that yes, you could do it without a hub, but only for local control. Like, make sure the users know.
I feel like you can still do that though. From the limitations that were on this, it had to have been a Wi-Fi thread-based Matter devices. I think this is just for the installation of it. I think it still had to be Wi-Fi based Matter accessories, right?
But it still needs a border router to get out to the internet or to do anything like that, right?
No, because they would be Wi-Fi already, right? They're already on the network. Like it's only for Wi-Fi based Matter accessories. You're going to be able to control that directly through the Home app without needing a Home hub. For Thread Matter devices, you can pair them essentially to the iPhone, but you still need a hub for those.
Yes.
You still need a border router for those. So the only option is it's like if it's a Wi-Fi over Matter, you don't need the hub anymore because it's online. It's already online. Anyway, Matter. What is it good for? Oh wait, no, that's. I don't think it. I think this is just again, Matter was just made to make it easy for people to buy something with the little Matter logo stamped on it. And I was like, okay, this is going to work with my stuff. And I think Apple is just kind of running with that. Like they don't, there's not any reason for that not. Actually, if you think about it, if it's already on the Wi-Fi network, you don't need a hub. Like this device already has access to get outside, of the home. You don't need a hub for that. So I think that's actually kind of cool. Like if it's a Wi-Fi over Matter device, you don't need to buy an Apple TV. Done. All right. Speaking of Matter, SmartThings launched a Matter Bridge integration, enhancing connectivity between its platform and IKEA's smart home devices. Feature allows users to easily connect their IKEA smart devices to their SmartThings ecosystem, which will help simplify their home management. Just with a few clicks, you can import everything into SmartThings. Let's see, you've got IKEA devices. You can put them on your map there with SmartThings. It's got pretty much a broader, it opens up more of an ecosystem with them as well. And it also preserves unique features that were on the IKEA products, like binding a remote directly to a lighter shade. So it's kind of nice that I guess this kind of opens up SmartThings for a lot more. If it's got these Matter Bridge compatibility things that it's doing. IKEA is probably not the only thing you could bring in, but it's the one they certainly talk about in the story here.
I see more and more of this though, of companies creating bridges to bridge their devices into Matter, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of hubs in your house to bridge all these various manufacturers into Matter. And I even see that in my own setup, which I'm gonna get into in the project section. Yet another hub just to bring things in to integrate better.
Yeah, but it allows for integration, I guess, and that's the whole point of all this. So like I'm looking at this, they're calling it a Matter Bridge integration. They go on to talk about like how you can integrate IKEA stuff, but I would think if you had another Matter Bridge, you should be able to bring in other things that are on Matter, maybe not just IKEA stuff. So I think this seems like it could be a win-win, or maybe this is just like dedicated for IKEA only. I don't know. It's kind of weird the way the press release is written here on Samsung. You know who would know? I know a guy who knew, and I've got to talk to him about a marketing thing anyway, Beyonce. So I'll get a hold of Daniel and have him help us out with this. It seems pretty cool. It seems like a good get for Samsung SmartThings users, because if you have, the IKEA products are pretty good by all indications, right? So you should be able to use those as intended and then bring them into the SmartThings ecosystems. That's great. A bunch of Matter stories here at the end of the day. All right. Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/500. There we go. Woo! 500. So, woo. So many.
You're so lucky to have us, Seth.
We got some listener feedback tonight, or listener question that came in. This came in last week from Chris, and he was asking about. Well, let me just read this to you, and you can understand pretty quickly why TJ and I punted on this one. He's currently running a Z-Wave.me USB stick, and he's wanting an upgrade to a Zeus ZST239 Series 800 stick. He has 87 devices connected to Home Assistant, and he's wondering if he had any thoughts or ideas how to accomplish the move. He wants to say that Gavin did recently change over to $800, and I think, Gavin, you had a couple of things that popped up during that transition. As soon as he said 87 devices connected to Home Assistant and there's Z-Wave, I was like, there's only one man who can tell you what to do in this, Gavin. And maybe Paulus,
maybe Paulus. Yeah.
Maybe Paulus at this point. But yeah, Gavin's definitely who needs to answer this question. So Gavin, what do we do here?
No, I actually responded to Chris because yes, I did go through something similar when I upgraded from my AOTech 500 to the 700, and then from the Zoo 700 to the 800. And my advice was basically every time, nothing ever worked, right? Every time I messed with it, doing backups and restore, all my entity names got reset and I had to replug it back in. So, because you're going from the zwave.me, I've seen videos online where they said you could add the controller in as a secondary controller, sync it across, then you can remove the first controller. Again, all your entities got renamed, got messed up. Backup and restore of the USB stick, it was very finicky. I don't know if they've made updates with it recently, but backing up from the 700 to the 800 all depended on what firmware was on that 700, because it had to be a newish firmware for the MVM to read and write and all. It was a mess. And each time I just ended up going through and resetting everything. And I know I'm not really helping you here. I sent them, I think the shows that I may have talked about it in, and there's YouTube videos on how people suggest doing it, but just be prepared for that. Your entities may get renamed, and you may just end up just going through and resetting them all anyway. The only time I could get backups and restore working is when I was going from like the series 800 stick to the 800 stick. I could do a backup from an 800 and restore to an 800. And then I saw that they had some new firmware for the 700. They introduced a backup and a restore to an 800, but it's never reliable either. So bad news. I've been through it and I ended up just doing a reset and re-adding all devices. The crappy part about doing that though is the batteries. You're going to kill a lot of battery life because you got to go through each one of them and do the add, restore, add, and exclude and include. And that uses up a lot of battery. And after doing that so many times, I had to go around and start changing batteries. So be prepared. Make sure you have some extra batteries, because you'll probably run into some draining. I'm full of good news. I know.
Man.
But, I've been there, done it, and I just had to pull off the Band-Aid and do it the hard way.
First the cat story, now this. Oh.
Yeah, I come back from vacation and, Debbie Downer. I know. I understand.
Well, good luck, Chris. We wish you well on your journey in the world of Z-Wave, exclusions and inclusions. Sometimes you just got to start over. Over and get all those numbers in there.
Because even when I thought I took a backup and, I tried it and it didn't work and then I just did a restore, then all my entity names got renamed, and that even took even more time to just, clean up all my automations, rename all the entities, get things working again. So yeah, it was not an easy thing. zwave.me, I actually have one of those sticks sitting around, but I've never used it. So I don't know how up to date their firmwares are, but you may want to look into a new firmware version of that and then see if you could do an actual backup and restore to the 800 from that. Because I don't know if they actually have newer firmwares than what I was dealing with.
Well, I went to the website there and they don't have a secure certificate on it. So it's like, this isn't a good place to go. So I was like, nope, backing out. I don't know if zwave.ma is the right
I don't know
address.
if that's the right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but that's my advice is when I went through this, it was not easy. It was a mess and just a pain in the ass.
All right. Well, good luck, Chris. Let us know how it goes, and if you get all 87 devices moved over.
It's worth the hassle, though, because the Zoo's 800 sticks are much better, much nicer, and support a lot more features. So it's worth the hassle.
I got mine right here. As soon as I plug it in, it'll be great.
It might work.
I'm just not a fan of the long range aspect of it. So I still use the mesh, piece. But it still works great for me.
Awesome. All right, well, moving on here, we've got a cool picture of the week. This comes from friend of the show, Gerard, and it looks like there's a bunch. We're traveling. We're traveling more than I thought, but we're going to castles all over.
Seth is going to be so mad.
Wow. Oh, this is Kilkenny Castle. I think I've been to this actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been to this one. So yeah, they've got we'll put a link to the picture in the link. Yeah, I've definitely been to this castle. It was pretty up in Ireland. Yeah, they've got I think this is the card that we sent out with it as well. And he's he's made some modifications to the card, but it stuck us like we're standing right there in front of Kilkenny. So there we go. We're Gavin, you thought you drove a lot. I mean, you flew all the way over here, took this picture.
Yeah. He basically took our stickers and stuck it in front of pictures of castles or big houses. And I felt like I was actually there. I'm so proud.
It's pretty nice.
I actually laughed when I opened this email outside. It was funny.
Well, he even went through the extra effort. He even cut out our faces and stuff from the postcard. I mean, it's not like he just was lazy like I would be and just bring the postcard everywhere. He cut us out of the postcard.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
It looks like we're there. Yeah, he didn't even cut our ears off. This is awesome. I would have not been able to do that. It's very, very good knife work or whatever he's done here. And what I like best about this is that if you look at the pictures, this is the experience I had in Ireland as well with the weather. One picture, cloudy. Second picture, foggy. Third picture, clear blue skies. Beautiful. It's the exact same weather that I had when I was there. So beautiful. If you ever are in Ireland, make sure you drive out. You don't have to drive as much as Gavin did, but you can drive out anywhere in Ireland. And man, there's beautiful scenery like this, and castles and sheep and all sorts of stuff everywhere. So very, very nice place. But it was good to go there. 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. Well, geez, more than that. 10 years ago when I was there, and it was great to go with you guys just a few weeks back. So. Well, thanks, Gerard. We appreciate it, and made it to Picks of the Week. So there we go. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, Picks of the Weeks, or great ideas for a show, or even great ideas to use a Beyonce song for marketing for something, I don't know, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. Well, Gavin, you've been out of town, so you probably got nothing. Oh, what?
The only one with project updates.
So much to talk about. Yeah, so much to talk about. I feel like I missed a lot. It's been building up. Where do I start? So I finally got a new Yale lock for my front door, right? I got the Yale Azure 2. And the main reason I went with the Yale lock was my other two doors had Yale locks as well. So it's like a familiarity, easy, keep it all the same. But I couldn't get the Z-Wave one. So I ended up getting the plain Bluetooth one, which has Bluetooth built in. And I ordered the Z-Wave module and just threw that in there. So now it's a Z-Wave lock, right? And it was so easy to do. So all three of my locks, but Greg in the hub was actually talking about his locks falling off, Z-Wave. And I had the same problem. And this was one of the things I was working on with my Yale locks. And this is why I'm bringing it up, is because they actually have a new module for these things that have a newer version of Z-Wave. And I ordered some of them and replaced my old Z-Wave modules with the new one. And they've been solid. Right. So the sad part is the modules cost about $100, a little more Canadian. But the model number ends in ZW3, and that's how you know it's the new one. So I think there's Z-Wave 700 series, and they're easy to swap over and they work great. They haven't dropped off since. I have to order one more because I kept my garage door on the old one and that one still drops off. So this is like proof that, hey, the new module fixed whatever's causing it to drop off. So Greg, if I know it's expensive, but if you really want to solve that problem, it's probably just bite the bullet, get the modules. Maybe you could sell off the old ones to somebody and, it should solve it. So yay, I'm happy now. I solved that. More reliability there, right?
It's always good. Even for $100. I mean, if it stays on
per lock,
Oh, yeah. If you have more than one lock.
See,
yeah.
Yeah. So kind of had to bite the bullet, hide that bill from the wife. And, that's why, she doesn't listen to this show. Right. So next up, I noticed in the forums, for those that are using the Zoo's 800 long range controller, the ZST39, if you've been having issues with it locking up every now and then, because some people have been reporting this and it's been like a known bug that, Home Assistant's been kind of working on, workarounds with it. And they've been blaming, who makes the Z-Wave piece?
Starts with an S, Silicone.
Yes. They've been blaming Silicone Labs with for the bug in there, right? Apparently Silicone Labs released a new update And Zoo's actually released a new firmware, version 1.5. So if you are experiencing this, apparently they fixed this bug. So take a look at Zoo's firmware and do the update. I only recommend updating if you really have to, because it's not an easy process. They don't recommend you use Home Assistant to update the controller directly. You have to actually use another piece of software and then plug the USB into it. And then it's kind of easy, but also nerve wracking because you hope you don't brick it and that type of thing. So if you're experiencing the bug though, it would be worth going through it. And hopefully you'll have better results with your Z-Wave after this upgrade.
Very nice.
The other thing I've been playing around with is I've talked about this before. It's called GeoDrops. It's the lawn moisture sensors, the smart AI lawn moisture sensors. I got this from the company last year at the end of the year when I, was going into winter, so I couldn't really use it. This year I kind of got to play with it. Now we're getting into the time of the year when winter's coming along again, so I'm running out of time. But for those looking, like, it's the perfect form factor. It sits flat, it's in the ground, it's got, there's so much good about the form factor, but in terms of the company, there's too many changes going on that just break things or outages, and there's no integrations. And for a device where I just want to know the moisture in my lawn, this seems so over-engineered. Like adding the AI and lawn type sensing. I just want to know what the moisture is, so I don't know if it's something I'll really continue with, but the form factor was almost like I love that part of it. I wish other companies could keep theirs flat, but I was playing with that. Can't really recommend it right now. Feel like I'm still beta testing it with them. And the last thing I was playing with is so last week or week before, Home Assistant announced that Aquara joined the Works with Home Assistant program. Mm-hmm. So it was great. So they mentioned actually the hub, the M3 hub was going to be part of the supported devices. So I went out and I grabbed one of those M3 hubs. And the main reason I did that was because I have a whole bunch of their old sensors or old Zigbee sensors that I ended up pulling out of my house because they kept dropping offline. And they drop offline when you're using them with other controllers. But when you use it with their hub, everything works fine, of course, right? Mm-hmm. So I got their hub, and now I got a whole bunch, all my old sensors are now, I can deploy them again. And they basically I connected to their hub. And then from their hub, it exposes it to Home Assistant through Matter. So they all show up in Home Assistant as Matter. So it's a way of getting all those old sensors working again through their hub with the reliability so they don't drop off. I really like it. Much more reliable. I have to add yet another hub into my place. But the one thing that does annoy me, though, is those sensors, when they're exposed through Matter into Home Assistant, they don't expose the battery property. So I still need their app and everything to see, what the battery levels are. I can't use Home Assistant to show me low battery levels or anything like that, which, I think I talked about SwitchBot doing the same thing. It's just expose the battery property. Yeah. When you're, I get the light level, I get motion, just add the battery in there so I can use Home Assistant to tell me when the batteries are low. I don't know why they don't do that, but that's another annoying thing. Maybe I'll send them an email, but they're too big of a company. You know anybody in Aquara?
Nah, they don't know anybody there.
We'll get nobody. We'll get nowhere. So, but my old sensors, I can start deploying them again with reliability, which is good because they're old. They're the old Zigbee ones, and I know whenever you use them with the Zigbee controllers, the non-Aquara ones, they would drop off, and getting them back online was always a dance, and you had to run around and fix them. And that's why I ended up just pulling them all out. It wasn't worth it. But now when I'm using their hub, they don't drop off. They work, and then it just exposes over to Matter. So I have a whole bunch of new sensors that I can deploy in my house for spots I was missing. So my basement windows now I was looking to get all sensored up. So yep, that's just an idea for anybody out there. It's the M3 hub if you're looking for it to integrate it into Home Assistant.
And that was Zigbee. That's a Zigbee hub.
It's actually the hub does everything. It's Thread,
really?
Zigbee. Well, not
Does
everything. It doesn't do Z-Wave, but it's Zigbee. It's got Thread. I think it's got Bluetooth. It's got some other things in it, right? So it's pretty cool, and it supports all their devices. And when you go in their app, it's amazing how many devices they actually have. Like you see so many things in there. You're like, oh, I want one of those. But because it's international, they're not all offered over here. But it is pretty amazing how many devices they have. They're huge.
So many things that aren't available to us.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, they do have a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like swiping.
Like smart toilets.
Yeah, there we go.
And usually I hear people in like Australian stuff complaining that things aren't available to them, you know? So now I know how they feel. It's like, oh, this isn't offered here. You know, like their smart tablet. Oh, they may bring it next year, you know?
It's too bad. Well, I mean, it's good that you can do this, but yeah, it's too bad you can't get anything. I can't get all the products they have. But I guess I have, what do I have? I have the M2 hub. So yeah, I can't, the M3 hub I think was just recently brought out.
That's the new one, and they added the Matter support. I don't think they're going to do it with the M2 hub. I didn't see that in the press release, so.
I'm having some weird issues with mine right now, and I'm not sure what it is, but I've got to go look. A couple of things is like I've had a new phone, right? And so like maybe that's part of it. Like I can't unlock the lock anymore, but it for some reason it's not showing that it's unlocked or locked or whatever. I don't know. It says it's fine, but when I go and try and unlock it from outside, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So we've got some troubleshooting to do on this one. This is kind of the first time it's caused any issues.
Is it a Matter lock?
No, it's the Aqara one, and it's got.
So it's Zigbee?
Yeah, it's paired to their hub for sure. So yeah, it's bound to their gateway hub, and their hub doesn't need any kind of nothing needs firmware updates. So I'm not confused. Usually I'm just like, I just update it and it'll work, right? But in this case, don't know. Not.
Yeah, I have their motion sensors. The main reason I wanted this hub too was because I have their P2 motion sensors, which were Matter motion sensors, and we were told that when you add it to the hub, you would be able to get like more control over sensitivity levels and stuff like that. But they never introduced that feature. So, you know, I was kind of upset about that too, is how can I adjust the sensitivity or the timeout times of these sensors? But maybe that's a future firmware update, I guess. Who knows?
I don't know. Usually I go into this app and I find that I need firmware updates done, but for whatever reason, they must have been taking care of them, or maybe I turned on auto update on. But yeah, I haven't had to, like, everything's firmware updated, and I definitely haven't gone and looked at this in a long time. Because usually, again, the door lock has been perfect and working, but only a couple of times here in the last couple of days. And again, maybe it has something to do with the new phone. Maybe I don't have didn't transfer the, what is it called? The HomeKit key thing over correctly. I don't know.
It's confusing.
Yeah. I'll have to go dig through that and figure out what's going on with it. But I just looked over while you were talking about Home Assistant. I was like, oh yeah, we haven't talked about this a while on the show. And let me see when I should update. So yeah, I've got an update to go for a new Home Assistant operating system.
Yeah, I think they released a new update too just today.
Oh, well, there we go.
On the last Wednesday of this month, they will be releasing their beta for October. So you'll have a bunch of updates coming.
Yep. I just hit update on the Home Assistant OS, which is going from 12.4 to 13.1. And we'll see whenever that update. I think I'd do that first because it takes a while. So, and then the other thing was 9.3. So whatever we're on now, probably 9. Whatever. But I guess
2024.9.3 I think got released this week. Yep.
So I'll be going to that. I've done a couple of projects since you were gone, Gavin.
Did you finish any of them?
I feel like I did finish something.
No, he said started.
I think I finished one. It was in the hub. I and somebody was like, "Oh, wow, Seth actually finished the project," but now I've forgotten what it was. So I guess it doesn't count. It must have not been important.
It wasn't a real project.
Yeah, exactly. There were a couple of things that were just kind of like lingering things for me to do around the house here. And one of them, a couple of months back, I guess, I replaced my my camera NVR thing. I updated from the what's it called, the Cloud Key Gen 2, and I went to the full NVR thing. And
You talking about Unify?
Like a Unify NVR one?
Yeah, for Unify. Unify. Yeah, just the
Ooh, the big boy one, yeah.
That's not the big boy anymore. There's a bigger boy now.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
The for you enterprise version. Yeah. And I wasn't here for that news, so I never got to give my input on that whole announcement, right? But I'm actually excited about that because they're opening up OnVIF with their NVR. And that their interface, you guys always touted their interface as it's so much better than Blue Iris. It does look prettier and stuff like that, but
literally anything is better than Blue Iris.
yes, but until they allow things like OnVIF events or even built-in, analyzation of the streams, I don't know how Unify does it. Do they actually use the OnVIF events of their own cameras, or do they do like where they analyze the streams?
I don't know. That's all proprietary stuff, so they could just do whatever they want. But I will tell you from my experience here, if it's going to be a while. Yeah, because I made the mistake of updating to the beta, and boy, was that a mistake. I usually do not want to beta test things, but I wanted to like go in and see what this was all about and do the OnVIF thing, and now I'm stuck with this thing that's not working. So, it basically loads up your camera system, and then it's like here's a static blurry picture of the stream that you thought you were going to be watching, and it doesn't record it. And I just tried to connect to mine right now, and it's not working anymore. So I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, and the issue with my cameras are crappy when it comes to OnVIF, and I know certain cameras do this, but my cameras, they have OnVIF, they advertise as that, but only for the stream. They don't actually advertise the events because they want you to use their own cloud service for that. So even if they added OnVIF events, it's like I'd have to replace all my cameras.
Yeah.
Unless they did the analysis of the video and did what they had to do to detect motion, etc.
I can tell you that's the big question right now. How far will they go with this? Because I think even some people with OnVIF, like PTZ cameras, that particular OnVIF profile is not supported yet. And so like they've got a ways to go. This is not something that I think they're going to turn on, immediately, because of all of the edge cases and everything. I have seen people have success with like Rail-Link cameras. Some people are getting the Hikvision or Hikvision, whatever, working. Some people aren't. So, I mean, it's all kind of like a particular thing right now. I have Uniview cameras here that I was like, oh, let me just plug this in and see if that works. And like I said, I get a nice little static image and nothing else. Like it's got a beautiful picture. I can download a snapshot of it, a live snapshot, but I can't watch the video, and it's not recording any of the video. So again, it's all in beta right now. And, they got to work through some bugs. They've got a million different cameras here that everybody's going to be trying to say, look into, and hey, this doesn't work. And, they're going to have to go around and patch those bugs or figure out how to get the video in, or maybe even specify what video they can support so you can set up your streams that way. In the end, it's a step in the right direction, I think. Oh, absolutely. It's a bonus for all of us. Absolutely. So I guess consider that a project. I just hit update on it because it wasn't working. So I was like, well, maybe if I update, it went 2 versions up from like 5.031 to 5.033. So they're patching this thing pretty quickly. I was probably playing with it over the weekend, maybe even on Monday. So it's getting updated quite a bit. I want off this train though. Get me out of the beta cycle. I do not want to be here. This is awful.
Yeah, luckily I've not had any of the problems that everybody says they've been having, like the app crashing or Unify Protect crashing and stuff. Mine's been working fine. The cameras don't refresh automatically though. Basically, I have to go to the cameras and view them, and then they refresh. But that's my biggest problem at the moment. I'm not able to ditch Blue Iris just yet. But don't worry, Gavin. When I can, I will.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Absolutely. Hey, if I can, I will too. But it all comes down to how far they take it.
Blue Iris keeps identifying my corn as a person, so at this point, I'm kind of willing to just ditch it.
You just got to tweak it.
There's no children of the corn in my backyard. I can promise you that.
You just need some tweaks. We'll have to sit down one day and look at it.
I don't think I have the patience.
I'm like flipping around, and some of my Unify cameras are dropping offline now. So great. This is a great update. Don't do this. Don't ever join a beta. Anyway, I don't think they're all done. Like if you go and look at the forums, they're all over the place right now. So give them some time. Wait till this OnVIF thing comes out for prime time. Add a couple cameras and see how it works for you. It might not, and then give it a shot later because it seems like a pretty good system. And I am curious, like Gavin, like you're thinking, they have this whole new thing now called Alarm Manager. I think this came out with the last update. Where you can go into the Alarm Manager and set up different things for events and that kind of thing. And I wonder if that's not going to be where they dump those OnVIF events into, and then we can utilize them from there because it's a completely different interface. It's all the way at the bottom. You can take a trigger, from something, bring it into and process a notification or a webhook or automation off of that. So I think it's going to be kind of like where they shove those OnVIF events in, and then maybe we'll be able to get those and do something fun with them. The fact that you can trigger a webhook off of it, that's a pretty good improvement because I think you had to have like a third-party hack integration to do anything like that. Now you can just set it up to directly do something.
Yeah, that's good, but it depends on if it's a get or a post too. So, because can you select the differences?
Let's see, advanced settings. Yeah, you can do getter post. You can add header. Yeah,
awesome.
You can add all sorts of stuff on here. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, to me, it all comes down to if they allow analyzing the stream to, trigger events. So if it could detect a person based on the stream, that would be great. Because will they fully rely on OnVIF events?
I think that's going to have to happen on the camera because it doesn't right now. It doesn't happen on the device itself. It happens. It's pretty much limited to their G4, maybe their G5 cameras. So I think they're going to rely on that.
Happening on the camera?
Yeah. Their AI stuff is basically per camera. So It's only on certain series because you can buy the G3 stuff and it doesn't work for vehicles, but it'll give you motion events. Yay. Who cares about that? But the AI stuff, a car parked here, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you need their AI camera, their AI included cameras, which can pull out the color of the car and all that good stuff. Well, back to my project that I did finish, or I didn't finish. I set up. I was playing. We had a big a power outage because finally the utility company came through and decided to hook us up for the underground power that's been sitting in there. I was mowing the lawn this weekend, and I got up next to the transformer and I hear it humming. I'm like, oh, they turned this on. I hope the wires going to my house aren't live because they're just like hanging out of a tube. So they came by early Monday morning and took the house down for an hour. So I was out of the house and I'm like, oh no. This guy is like knocking on the door and I know they're going to turn the power off to the house for like whenever. And I've got like UPS's computers on. So I'm like remotely dialing in, turning off, 2 NAS drives. I'm turning off the 2 servers that I have set up. And when I turned it back on, I realized I didn't have my sweet little BirdNet thing working anymore. Because I had replaced the NVR, the URLs for the cameras had all kind of like gotten changed or authentication had gotten messed up. And all I had to do was go back in, add those RTSP streams into the little bird thing. And now I'm getting my bird recordings back in for processing what little birds are singing out.
You've had that thing running for a while.
Well, it would have been a year except for the month or 2 that I didn't realize it wasn't running. So
have you detected anything interesting?
Let's see. It does have a dashboard in here for rare birds or something. I think it's probably just misidentifying things. Let's take a look. Reports. I don't know. Let's see. Total detections. Blue jay. 12,000. I've got 12,000 recordings of a blue jay if you want to hear them. Fish crow. I have 11,000 of those. Those are pretty popular through the month of I think. They've been popular all year. Never mind. But yeah, I guess it stopped in June. I missed July and all of August. And so now it's picking back up here in September, at the end of September. I don't know. I've seen like eagles on here before. I've seen, let's see what I've detected the least. Some warblers and egret, little blue herons. I don't know. There's a limpkin. I do remember the limpkin. That's a pretty, it's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, limpkin. So the limpkin is pretty noticeable bird. It's a swamp bird, I guess, but it sounds like a small child screaming at the top of their lungs in the middle of the night.
They teamed up with a gator, so that way people would come out and look for the small child, and they'd fall into the water and get eaten.
Yeah. I remember this thing screaming, and like we went outside, I could see our neighbor's porch lights turn on. Like, what in the world is that? So yeah. I think that's probably the most notable one. And there's probably something else in here that's rare or something, but, yeah, 89 unique species and 81,655 detections. So there we go. Go bird server.
Wow.
I would have more if not for the 3 missing months. So, oh well. It'll be interesting. We got a hurricane rolling through, so it'll be interesting to see one if all this stays up and running, but also like what birds come through with the hurricane. So we'll see what goes on there. TJ, you got anything going on? You're in a different state, and you said you were doing a Home Assistant install. How's that going?
Yeah, not much going on. I am in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, if you didn't catch the early part of the episode for some reason. And I am installing Home Assistant professionally for the first time. And it's going all right. I got all the stuff done for the most part. I was expecting to be done by like Thursday, but I'm pretty much done already. So we're gonna go back tomorrow, and we might be heading home early. We'll find out.
It's going that well.
But this simple installation. It's just a bunch of NFLA light switches and Zoo's door and window contacts and third reality water leak sensors. I basically designed the system, so it's everything that I put in my own house, which is kind of nice because I already know how it works. There's no figuring out the different quirks and stuff like that. I know exactly how it works, so that's pretty nice. And it's been pretty fun to come out here. The person that hired me originally found me on a Home Assistant forum, so
oh, cool.
You never know where business is going to find you.
Yeah, no kidding. That's cool though. Like, I mean, it's, I don't know. I think I mentioned this at when I was at CETA, I ran across 2 integrators like that they were focused on home automation, and 2 separate companies, and all they wanted to do was install Home Assistant. That's all they were going to do. Like they're setting up their companies based around that. They're going to do, and they're going to sell the automation. That's what they're going to work on, setting things up, selling that in, and they're not interested in anything like home AV related or anything like that. It's just going to be pure automation, and they seem to be having fun with it. So I have their card floating around somewhere, their contact information floating around somewhere, and I'll probably reach out to them and see if we get them on the show, talk to them one of these days.
I honestly think it's possible. I think the biggest issue, which I think plagues other professional industries, kind of like RTI and Crestron that I can really think of. Once somebody figures out the user interface of Home Assistant, I think everything is going to be smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
Because the Home Assistant interface is like the biggest struggle at this point, because we're adding all these lights and we're doing these thermostats and door contacts and stuff, and the interface just looks like complete butt. I mean, there's just not a nice way to like make it look good without just like tons and tons of time. And when I got into the professional home automation industry, we did RTI. And at the time, RTI, you couldn't even like copy interfaces from one device to another. You had to literally build it from scratch every time. And that's just like, it is so exhausting and it's not necessary. So I think once they figure out some kind of interface solution, I think it'll be a lot better. And I think professionals will start using it because it's literally compatible with everything. I mean, this guy got some thermostats installed. I originally recommended the Ecobee thermostats because I really like those. And they got some random train thermostat, that multi-zone train thermostat, and it's compatible with Home Assistant. And it's just like, you can't find that with a lot of other automation platforms. So I think that is a really good selling point. I think once they fix the interface issues, I think a lot of people are going to be using this professionally.
Yeah, I agree. That's like the whole, Control 4, Elan, that's kind of their claim to fame, is like they give you a GUI in a box, right? And like you set up all the automation stuff, and then you like hit refresh, and boom, you've got your GUI gets laid out. Elan's a little more like tweakable, I guess. Control 4 still kind of has their own.
Yeah, I mean, Elan, you can basically build the interface, which is nice.
If you want to. I don't think you have to, though. I think
I don't want to.
Yeah. I don't want to either. But I mean, like Elan kind of gives you tools. But what's nice is like they have different size interfaces. They have one on the remote. They have the like touchscomponents. They have the iPad app, the iPhone app. And then once you do that once, it like does it across the board. Like the little like components and everything kind of scale up or down depending on what interface you're looking at automatically. And all that's done like with their system internally. Control 4 just kind of like, they've got a menu and you go through that menu. It looks the same on, just about every device, and you can kind of change the icons out here and there, but there's not much customization beyond that. And honestly, that's what sold those systems for many, 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 many years, is because like no one has time to really sit down and design a custom interface and program like with RTI. I remember doing those URC, doing those, like if you got outside the templates if you didn't save a template or anything, like you're literally programming like every button press and release like across the entire remote.
Oh my God, it's so exhausting.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit better now, but still not great. I mean, you can still get yourself into trouble.
With Home Assistant, they're kind of getting into that one design once, work on multiple inner size screens type of thing with the sections. They added that. And the other thing you can do with Home Assistant, if you really wanted to create like a template that is almost plug and play, you can use templates. It's bad wording, but the template programming language to automatically populate dashboards. That's kind of what I do. And then all I have to do is I use tags or on the device, and it will show up in the proper room, in the proper section of the dashboard and stuff like that. Like they do have it, but it's a lot more advanced, a lot more complicated, a lot more YAML. And they're working towards cleaning this up and making it a lot better. And I'm looking forward to see, I'm not going to say by end of this year, I'm thinking more into next year, you'll start seeing some much better improvements on their interface. But yeah, it still needs a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a good foundation, but I think what really needs, I think it needs some kind of like a different team on that, because I think a lot of the things that they expose and they show, and like it just doesn't need to be there.
They've been hired. They have a few positions open. They've also hired graphic designers to work on it. So it takes time. I know they're putting a lot of focus on it, but doing this commercially for people, Home Assistant has so many updates to it, and there's so many breaking changes in their updates.
But you don't have to update, right? Like that's the thing.
If you don't, the problem is if you don't update frequently, then you'll get the large updates, and then you'll have like 12 months of breaking changes that you got to go through and figure out. So that's the only thing I don't like about Home Assistant, is like every month it's like you have to actually pay attention to breaking changes. And I can see even in the next month there's more breaking changes coming in of things that I use that I need to go and now program or refix, right? So that's the only thing with Home Assistant. So many updates, so many breaking changes.
I'm going from, I didn't realize this, Gavin. I hit more info, and I'm going from 2024 8.2 to 9.3. So I have over a month of updates.
And that's not so bad because you're going from 8 to 9, right? So you're pretty good, right? But when you're like 2023.12 all the way over, you don't know what's gonna break in there, and sometimes you don't even find out till after you go try to use the device.
Yeah, and it moves so fast. Like you're saying, it is hard to keep up with some of the the pro automation systems. That can happen. Like that can happen with Control 4, Elan, Savant. Doesn't matter what system it is. If you go from like a really old version to the latest version, things can break. But generally, it's like a known thing. Like, oh, either the manufacturer tells you these have got to be updated, or there's a way we found that this breaks this, or they somehow roll patches or changes into that anyway and get it fixed. But like, I feel like since it's not like a monthly or heck weekly cadence like these, like you're able to keep up with that a little bit more, and still do all the other stuff it takes to run a business rather than just watching an RSS feed of updates from Home Assistant.
Exactly. Well,
it's updating now. So good luck, little Home Assistant box over there running your thing. Wish you well. We'll find out next week if it's updated, I guess. All right. I think that's going to wrap everything up. That's the end of episode 500. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show. but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and everyone can join in there. And there's all sorts of news going on. I think, TJ, you posted a big chair in there. Did you post the chair in the Hub?
Yeah, we stopped by Casey, Illinois, where they have the world's largest everything. Mailbox, chairs, whatever.
What are they doing now? Maybe that's a thing, I guess. Like, that seems like a...
I just thought giants lived there when we pulled up, to be honest. I was like, oh, this is not for people. I gotcha.
I guess we have roadside attractions in Florida. I mean, it's mostly involves like gators and stuff, right? We have Gatorland.
Yeah, Gatorland's great.
So we have things like that. There's all sorts of discussions going on in here as well, and Sonos bashing, Unify talk. And I guess there was a thing that came up today about the Unify NVRs. You were actually asking about this, and the UNVR, when you adopt it in. At first, I guess it has like its own thing. It sets up outside of the...
Yeah, it has its own cloud key. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's built... It's separate. It's a separate thing. And that's the way I run it, because I don't want to run the cloud key and a UNVR, right? So you can set it up independently. But I guess, and I really don't know how this works, there's a way you can merge them together after maybe they've all been updated or running a while. I'm not sure. There's a new merge button, so keep an eye out for that if you're a Unify fan. And
mine does not have this option. I have not seen this come across yet.
It's not a beta thing, because the screenshot I sent you is not a beta project. That's a property I manage, and like it's got just I think it's the Rack Unit Pro thing, and it's got a UNVR. So whatever those are. See, I should know these, but I don't. It's not the Pro one with the PoE. It's just the regular Cloud Key Pro thing with the router and everything built into it. And then a UNVR sitting off on the side. So I guess you can merge them. I don't know what conditions have to arise. Maybe it has to have the same like subnet or IP address range or something, or it's coming from the same IP. But it eventually found out that I'm using both of these pieces of equipment, and there's a merge button. But I'd be curious as to find out as to like what triggers that, because it's not something I set up or did or even clicked at this point, because I don't want to click it unless I'm on site.
Yeah, mine are on the same network, and I mean they're basically named the same thing and everything, and they're still not showing up as merge possible. So I have to look into that, because for me, I understand why you would want it to be a separate thing at some point, but it also is kind of silly that you can't just nestle it in under like the whole unified network thing.
Like right off the bat, like you should be able to do that from the beginning, but you got to set it up its own standalone thing.
Yeah, one thing I didn't realize when I was setting it up, I was adding all the stuff, but I was adding it to the UDM. And so I had to go back and like reassign it to the NVR and then disable the UDM and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like it could just be an easier way to do it.
I wonder what there's got to be like a tech doc on it or something out there. I wonder what it'll be. Anyway, more discussions in the hub like this. Like you can get in there and see all sorts of stuff that's going on. Anyway, if you want to join the hub, all it takes is a $1 a month pledge over at HomeTech.fm/support. You can join the Patreon thing over there, and you can do that. But if you want to help out but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the whatever podcast app you're listening to. That's going to wrap up the news this week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Till next time.
Take care.